there'd be players in his squad that he knows nothing about before he came to this. He might have had something to do with some of the younger signings or known a bit about them. But until you work with those players and start putting them in games, he'll have no idea. And now he's talking about, I've got to get rid of some of these players to get them out on loan because the squad's too big. He's making decisions on 3 or 4 weeks of seeing them in pre-season training.
And we thought overall that Kepa was going to be the #1 goalkeeper. We thought that was the simple bit, yeah? No, right, worry about everything else.
He still will be.
Kepa's going to be your #1, but there's reports that Robert Sanchez could be making the move, Shaka, to Stamford Bridge.
Well, Chelsea needed another goalkeeper with Mendy heading out to Saudi Arabia, as so many other players have. And I think Robert Sanchez, especially the reported price of 25 million, I think is an outstanding purchase. Now, I question whether Kepa was really the solution for Chelsea long term. I think Robert Sanchez coming in, and as much as right now is being packaged as a goalkeeper to push Kepa, I think if I'm Sanchez, I'm thinking a whole lot more. The more surprising thing about this, that I just mentioned, is 25 million for a goalkeeper who I thought, especially when you see David Raya going or reportedly going to Arsenal for some 40 million. That's 1.5 times the price that Sanchez is. I didn't think there was that big a difference between the two. So from a Chelsea perspective, I think this is outstanding business at that price for a goalkeeper of that quality. And again, I think he has every chance, or certainly more chance, of being the starting goalkeeper over Kepa than Raya has of being over Ramsdale, which we discussed a couple of days ago.
You're shaking your head?
Well, unfortunately, he's a good goalkeeper, but he lost his place in Brighton's team last year to Luke Steele.
Yeah.
Because the new manager came in and didn't like whatever he was doing. So that's why I think he's moved on. He realised he wasn't going to be the #1 at Brighton, and it's better off being a #2 that's got a chance of being the #1. Because Kepa I think will start as #1, but if he doesn't play well, then Sanchez can come in and maybe do a good job.
Jason Steele.
Jason Steele rather than Luke Steele.
Top 4, Chelsea?
No.
No, it's tricky to make any arguments. We've been asked for our top 6. You think, well, do you even put them in that far up? No, you'd have to answer now. I'm just saying.
I think you probably do. I think because you're still Tottenham are an unknown quantity. I think it's between them and Newcastle.
Shaka, you look at it.
You have Newcastle.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Shaka, it's interesting looking at the bookies that, in fact, Chelsea are favoured to finish top 4 over Newcastle.
I think that's just because the expectation is Chelsea are going to continue spending a little haphazardly as they had been. I mean, they've made some good signings this summer, but before that, we all question a lot of Chelsea spending. And while, again, Newcastle has spent in a couple of departments, they probably won't match Chelsea. But all that being said, I think that's what the bookies are looking at. From my perspective, I think Newcastle are well ahead of Chelsea in terms of finishing top 4. I think they're ahead of a couple others. For me, I'm thinking City, Manchester City, Arsenal. I'm thinking Liverpool and Newcastle in my top 4. Of course, we still have a long way to go before the end of the season, but right now, I think that's how we're positioned.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.